has been a minute. I am so alive. I hope you are as well. It's been a long time ever since I created a video on YouTube, and today it is that opportunity for you to actually be a part of this session that's going to actually give you great wisdom, understanding on what is it that you need to learn spiritually. You have joined this channel, the Sun Ascended Masters channel, because you want to gain the spirituality for understanding and having to know yourself. Know thyself. The most important word, man, when it comes to everybody having to learn and growing spiritually. Knowing yourself is everything in the spiritual community, and you are able to grow and ascend even higher and be at the fullest potential that you're supposed to be at right now. The world is changing for the greater good, and people are a part of it. People are exciting. Every time getting the feeling of this enlightenment that they are feeling inside, having to actually flourish with this energy within and start to actually be so alive. I am so alive. Come, repeat after me. I am so alive. I'm 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 so alive. Are you alive? Because I am. I am so alive. I am so alive. I'm so alive. I'm so alive. I'm so alive. I'm so alive. Listen, it is important for you to have this energy within you that is positive all the time, man. If you're not getting all the motivation that you need in your life, then it means that you are not supposed to actually get it from elsewhere or anybody, right? You have to motivate yourself at some point and be at this highest level of vibration in order for you to actually get things done, right? You have to do that. You can't be waiting for somebody to actually give you that energy of influence, right? Not even me. You have to do it by yourself. This way you're not depending on anybody but yourself. If you put yourself first with your energy, I'm telling you, you will always have the motivation and influence that's actually going to get you into higher planes all the time. All it takes is for you to do the breathing techniques, having to meditate, and be one with your higher self. It is very, very, very important. Listen, guys, I really miss you so much. I'm sending you the eternal light, the eternal blessings, cosmic light. Receive it well, take it within, put it elsewhere, and give it to somebody else. It is important to always give a positive energy to other people. Whatever that is that you come across that is informative, right? That gives you all that information for you to grow and expand. You have to actually share it with other people. They will make their own choice if whether or not they want to be a part of it. What I know is when you are spiritual, and listen, we are all spiritual, but however, when you are spiritually inclined, this means that when you're spiritually active, you get to actually be one with the information that's going to come with a better timing for you to actually be able to understand and be one with your higher self. We are all here to learn. Learning never stops. Being educational spiritually, you are letting yourself to know everything that you had forgotten. The more you know, it is the more you do not know, because every time you know something, you come to realize and be like, no, man, I need to go even deeper into this whole information in order for me to expand and be in this world of the great manifestation, imaginations, right? That gives you that energy to be alive and be one with your higher self. That's what this is all about. You have to keep it in your mind that every minute you receive information that is very well beneficial to you, you are expanding, you are growing. Forget about all the is that might actually lead you astray, or an information that only wants you to keep on following all that information, not having to realize that you're wasting your time, you're not expanding. This is all about you having to expand. And that is why I told you guys that I've stopped doing those kind of videos telling you about what's happening. I want people, with the information that I gave you, I want people to expand, right? I know definitely that when you're expanding, you're adding a value in your life, because I want you to be the better version of yourself all the time. All the time. That's what this is all about, right? I want you to be the better version of yourself. And for you to be the better version of yourself, you have to know everything that's happening within you before you can actually attest to the evidence of the things that are happening outside of you. Everything that is inside of you is the truth, the feeling, the cosmic light, the vibration, the frequency, the enlightenment, the awakening experience for you to grow and expand and be the true person with the true purpose living on this planet without anybody else standing in your way. Keep that in mind. Keep this in mind all the time that I'm telling you. You're gonna be very, very, very far in life. I guarantee you this. Now, I know that I've taken so much time, right? Today's topic, what we're gonna talk about is, are you very well aware that the moon does really affect you? Are you aware that the moon does really affect you? The reason why I want to talk about this today is that I think people don't realize it, that the moon does affect them, right? Especially women, right? I know definitely that the moon really does affect women more than it actually affects everybody in this planet, okay? It does do that. I know that I've actually been making so much topics about the moon. It's just that I think people, they still haven't actually understood what I mean when I say that the moon does affect you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want you to be alive and be expanded within your mind and open the field of understanding within you in order for you to actually be in this experience of understanding this information. That's what this is all about, right? If you're able to give yourself that opportunity and that chance, then I'm telling you, with the guarantee that you'll see what I talk about when I say the moon does really affect you. So that's the topic today. Do you know that the moon does really affect you? Or you just ignorant? Find out after the break. And welcome back. Listen, before we can actually go through this video, I want everybody right now to prepare themselves in order for us to be able to do the left hemisphere brain breathing technique and the right hemisphere brain breathing technique. If it is the first time you joining my YouTube channel, you are welcome. Make sure that you press the subscription button. Make sure that you press that like button. Make sure that you leave a comment how it feels to be part of this Sun Ascended Masters channel, because you are the living suns, the photon energy that is always absorbing the light ray of the sun to actually better advance you spiritually, right? You have to be at a fullest potential. Listen, the light of the sun is increasing every single day, man. What are you doing about it? Are you sun gazing a lot? Are you doing your meditations? Are you keeping up with your healthy diet? Are you detoxing your body every single day? Are you doing yoga? Because these things are going to actually put you at an aspect of you having to be a full ascended master. Are you a sun gazer? Listen, man, if you're a sun gazer, press the like button, comment and say, yeah, I am a sun gazer and I'm so alive. I'm so alive, I'm so alive, I'm so alive, I'm so alive. Listen, the breathing technique, right, requires you to hold your breath for like 13 seconds. That's all. That's what you need to do. Holding your breath for 13 seconds. When you've reached your 13 seconds, you breathe out, okay? You breathe in, hold your breath, then do this, right? Starting with the left hemisphere brain, then you go to the right hemisphere brain, just twisting your head carefully, right? Carefully. You don't need to hurt yourself. You don't need to push yourself. You're just doing this breathing technique, holding your breath as follows. Follow me and see what I have to do. Now let us go. You focus your attention to your first eye, right? Whew! Can you feel this energy? Listen, your mind is so open right now. It is so free. The tension on your shoulders is actually gone, right? You're feeling so much energy. This is motivation. If you want to motivate yourself every single time, you do this breathing technique 3 times in the morning, 3 times afternoon, and 3 times before you sleep. This will generate so much energy within you to be motivated. Listen, the sound of your voice is so wild, beautiful, right? It is so beautiful to the point that every word you utter out of your mouth has so much confidence because you have a strong feeling with knowing what you're saying and understanding what you're saying, right? This is a whole aspect to change you inside of your body. You will change to the point that now you start to be connected. Your mind is feeling free, right? You can take over the world right now with only doing this breathing technique every single day, 3 times a day. Don't make a mistake. Make sure that you keep up with this breathing technique in order for you to be the better version of yourself and to be that person that wants to actually reach out to the greatest height spiritually. You will never be able to do it without breathing technique. You will never be able to do it without having to meditate. You will never be able to do it without having to sungaze. You will never be able to do it without you having to keep up with the clean, healthy diet. You will never be able to do it without you having to stretch your body and do yoga and be mindful of your power so that your manifestation can be so powerful, broad, and quick. You clear your mind, you have a distinctive focus and a direction of where you are sending your energy to, and that's what this is all about. Listen, without wasting time, right, let's get into it. The moon. Did you know that the moon does really affect you, or you're just ignorant? The moon does affect you, and I want to talk to women first, right? How does the moon affect you? To the woman or women that might say that I know what you're talking about, I understand, but I don't think that the moon does affect me. It does affect you. The fact that you're going through menstrual cycle, right? It is the effect of the moon. When it is full moon, you become too emotional. You go through pains because of your menstrual cycle, right? Now it has come to the point that it doesn't have to actually be full moon entirely in order for the moon to affect you, because now your genes have got to actually not entirely adapting to it, but it has actually been put in this environment in order for you to actually act as such when the time comes, even though it is not yet the full moon. Already, you'll start to actually go through your period pains. You start to feel the pain. Now, saying this, I know this, it'll actually make it look like it is a conspiracy theory. It is not a conspiracy theory. It is a fact. It is something that is true. How do we know, or how do I know that the moon does really affect you as a person? Because it challenges your emotions, right? It makes you go through the pain. With the woman, you feel it the most, right? Women, you feel it the most because when you have to menstruate, you go through this pain. It's very hard for you to actually bear with them. Sometimes you can and sometimes you cannot, but you try your best to actually, live through the pain all the time. It is not something pleasant. If the moon was not affecting you, it was supposed to be something pleasant when you go through your menstrual cycle, right? The moon has a connection with the blood that comes out of you all the time, because it is like an engineer of forcing your system to go beyond and against nature. Somebody might be saying, I've been talking about the moons, that there are so many moons that are really active. If those moons were brought in, like in terms of in this realization, right, you actually go through the whole entire month without you having to actually go through the menstrual cycle. I know that I might be actually opening some question people might be asking, but according to how you've been taught, or you'll say that according to how I've been taught, that when I go through a menstrual cycle, it is a cycle of cleansing my body. That is not entirely true, right? It is something which you've actually been taught to think as such, to think that it is okay for me to actually go through this so that you can actually accept the pain and go through it all the time, right? The moon that is organic, that is original, if it were to be so active in the sky every single time, you wouldn't go through that phase, because your body is not supposed to actually bleed out blood in order for you to actually get to be cleansed. It doesn't really make sense if you have to think about it. The moon that is there right now active, it is an artificial moon that has been man-made in a collective consciousness to try to absorb, right, people's energy, first of all, people's emotions. And it becomes so powerful, like it works like a superconductor, when now it has to actually work in the woman's system and, you know, go through a menstrual cycle, having those pains in order for the blood to actually come out. The taste of the blood, according to the creatures and the entities that are actually absorbing it through an energy field way, it is much more beneficial if the blood comes out with the pain from within you. It is the same thing that happens when the children have been actually abducted, been killed, and do all of those things. Before they actually kill and actually consume their blood, those children have to actually go through pain first. They have to torture them. It has to be so painful for them to actually get that blood. According to them, it is something that is pure, that has so much power and energy. Now, when the moon absorbs people's energy all the time, focusing this on women, it takes on that energy blood. That's why usually you see that the moon turns red. Where do you think that red hue is coming from? Right? The moon is hologram. It is a hologram, but on the other side, it is an engineer of technology that is able to actually absorb so many things in this world, and it affects many people. It drives people crazy. Now, the more it absorbs the energy of the energy from the blood, because that's what this is all about. Everything is all about energy. When it absorbs that energy, it has a show for it when the moon turns red, right? And this is able to regenerate the matrix to keep everybody here in this planet trapped for eternity. It actually regenerates the false light that shines at night, that makes people think that it is the pure essence of it. Yes, in a ritualistic way, when you have to actually focus your rituals there during the moon, you're actually using the energy of all the women combined that go through menstrual cycle. That is why when you have to do rituals under the full moon, it becomes so powerful. I know that now I'm talking about things that might actually scare people a bit, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to give you educational for you to actually understand when you have to do things under the moon and all of that. But the moon has a negative energy. I've always been saying this on my previous videos. It has a negative energy which is anti-photon. It is against melanin. Let me not say melanin because melanin does not exist, right? It is against the carbon or atom structure that is found in all the people of color, okay? And throughout the whole entire nature is what you know as nature. It is actually the carbon, right? It is actually the carbon. We are the 9 ether beings, and the earth is the connectivity of the 9 ether energy experience, right? So the moon doesn't have that energy. It is actually against it. It is there to absorb and harm everything that is natural, right? Including all the people of color. When it comes to human beings, they find joy in the full moon. It actually benefits them. When the moon absorbs all that energy from all the carbon beings, right, it later gives it back to the human beings. They become so alive in the full moon. The people of color don't become so alive in the full moon. Even the trees, the nature overall, it doesn't actually become so alive. In fact, what happens is the nature tries to actually fight over this anti-photon energy, because nature has photon energy that comes from the energy of the sun, including all the carbon beings. That is why most of the time when it is a full moon, you start to be so emotional, become emotionally imbalanced. Some of you, your emotions become over-heightened, while some of you, the emotions become very low. You have so much headaches, right? Your body physically is trying to fight over this energy. The only way it has to express itself is for you to actually harm yourself or harm somebody else as well. If you've noticed, every full moon, there's a high rate crime that increase, especially in the black community. It is because of the moon. Every time when you have to actually go through that experience, you are giving off your energy to the moon. It is soul harvesting everybody, especially on the full moon. And it is soul harvesting the most women through the menstrual cycle. It is the reason why you go through menstruation cycle. If that moon were to fall, that is artificial, right? Definitely, woman would stop going through menstrual cycle. You get what I'm saying? This thing, it becomes very how to put it? Like, if you don't actually open up your mind to it and understand, it'll become very difficult for you to actually see through what I'm actually talking about. But the moon is really, it is like literally artificial. It is not real at all, right? We have moons that are real, that are able to give that energy, that is a photon energy, right? That is collective and close related with the sun, but in a different way. And in the true aspect, right, the moon is not supposed to actually shine the white light, because anything that is white, get this in your mind, anything that is white, it is just an illusion. It is an illusion. It does not really exist. It is a false light. So this moon that keeps on absorbing people's energy, it is actually performing an activity to make sure that people, when they have to die, they look for the light first. That light, it might not actually come as the moon as you might have known it when you lived here in this planet, but any glimpse of light, when you die, you go to it. You're going through the cycle, right, of the moon. That's going to actually now reverse everything you've ever known, to the point that now it'll be very hard for you to actually escape the reality on the other side. It'll be very hard for you to escape the reality. You'll actually have to stay here and be trapped for a very long time, because the planet is useless to the people who carry the matrix without having people to enslave in this world. They lose it all. They lose everything. They can't actually generate money, wealth, through slaving people with all this false light energies. And every time a woman go through menstrual cycle, it is actually increasing its power and capacity to burden everybody in this planet. That is why most of the time, people which have actually been conscious in this reality right now as you are living in this world, you know that I have to overcome the experience of the false light and matrix, understanding that the dark cosmos is where there is real light. The moment when you die, you know where to go. The first thing that you're gonna do, you'll run away from that light. And not just running away, you'll be able to escape from it. Because there are people who try to run away from that light when they die, but because they not actually got time, a chance to actually escape the matrix in this reality, they get caught with these agents that are waiting for you, that work alongside the moon to entrap and brainwash everybody, so that you come back now, same soul, into a different body, right? Having to forget everything that you've ever lived in your life and becoming something else. Now they give you a new purpose for you to actually live and follow. They give you instructions that have been downloaded inside of you. They use the very same spiritual essence in order for you to actually fall victim at the same thing. It's like you having to live your life so many times doing the very same thing all the time without you having to actually realize what's really happening, what's going on. To the point that now when you have to come into this world, when you come across people who have this enlightenment information for you to actually better understand who you are and grow from this entrapment of the matrix, it becomes even difficult for you to actually escape from this reality. Because the last time when you died, you got absorbed by the light, which is the false light of the moon, for you to actually come back here and keep on living an ignorant life all the time and become a bot. See, the more you die all the time and you keep on being actually brainwashed, when it happens so many times, you end up being a robot. Telling you, not making this up, you end up being a robot, because now you have now excelled into this lowest density of a vibration, to the point that now your energy has made you to be a part of it in a corporation, right? Now you're like that host. The only thing that you're going to do now is make sure that you absorb other people that are trying to actually escape the reality or the false light of the matrix, to actually absorb them back inside of it, because now you become an agent. You become an agent, right? Do you want to be an agent forever? Like, let's just be honest. Do you want to be an agent? Do you want to be an agent forever? You don't want that, right? You want to actually bring a great responsibility of the enlightenment for people to actually better understand themselves and be able to overcome the false light of this matrix. I hope I'm not talking to a bot. If you're not a bot, listen, press that like button, share that like button, and leave a comment and say, I'm not a bot. I'm very authentic. I'm real, and I'm very spiritual, right? And I'm growing and expanding all the time. So these things are there for you to actually understand that these energies are there that are wild, that are making sure that you don't actually become the fullest version of yourself. Every time when it's full moon, go out in nature, look at the oceans, see the tidal waves, look at the trees, look at how the plants are actually reacting. Every time they're trying to fight over this negative energy, because it is so negative, the only thing that it does, the full moon, is to absorb people's energy. Besides the fact that it is a watch, I don't want to get into it for people to think that it's a conspiracy theory. Besides the fact that it is the watch that is connected to each and everything that is technology in this world, to make sure that there's everything or information that they're able to actually get through, right? No matter how hard you might actually say that I'm hiding all the information or everything that I'm doing, I'm actually having a privacy. That moon over there, it invades people's privacy all the time. And somebody might say that, then if it's the case, why is it that if they have to actually catch somebody who actually did something wrong, right? Like a burglar or a robber, a person who robs people, why don't they use that satellite moon to actually catch them? They don't need to. They don't want to. They want people to actually behave as such. Because part of it is to make sure that people become so crazy, right? Not being able to control their energies, right? So it is there for a different reason, which I want to actually talk about it here, but it is there for a different reason, in order for them to actually be able to invade other people's privacy, to see who they really are, to scorch in, to see who you really are. And then they send agents through the moon to make sure that now you live your life astray. You don't actually come into this realization, and whatever that you do every single day is you turning yourself to be a robot, because that's the version they want you to be like. Look at the world right now, right? The AI technology is swifting in every single day, making sure that it takes people's life. How does it take people's lives? Turning people from being authentic and being robot. And the light of the moon is the reason for that. There's so many effective things that the moon does every single day that people don't actually realize it. And the most part it actually affects is your emotions. You start to fight with your partner. You fight with anybody else in the house. Although it is not the same experience with everybody, right? Although it is not the very same experience with everybody, it keeps on changing. This month you'll start to have these emotions. The next month you'll start to have that emotions. It's not always going to be negative, right? At some point it will be positive. However, it doesn't change the fact that this energy is actually affecting you all the time. Everybody that is carbon, if you were to actually pay attention and realize it and study yourself to the point that now you actually understand who you are under the energy of or the influence of the moon, you'll actually understand what I'm talking about, what I'm saying. But when it comes to physicality, it does really affect so many people emotionally as well, with your mind, right? When it comes to women, your menstrual cycle starts to actually picks up when it moves to that phase. It doesn't have to actually become even a full moon. You start to go through your pure pains. And you know what's the crazy thing about this? Let me tell you. The crazy thing about this is that the way the planet is moving so fast right now, with the enlightenment that's actually taking place, right? Like the split second whenever it is the full moon, now it has generated people's genes to the point that it goes to the age now, right? From 10 years, now children 10 years and above, they're actually starting to go through menstrual cycle. Why? Because their blood is pure, powerful. If you're the age of 14 and above, they don't need that blood anymore. It's not actually good enough because the planet is actually expanding and things are changing. It means that now levels are becoming in a different way. Now they're heading or going towards having to make sure that children at the age of 7, 8, 9, they start to go through menstrual cycle. It's going to be shocking when time goes on. That's going to happen. Children will go through menstrual cycle at a young age. This thing is changing people's genes. The moon is changing people's genes every single year. Because just for the fact that it is a full moon, don't think that is not actually affecting people's genes. Yes, there are ways for you to actually protect yourself from the energy of the moon. I always tell people, copper can help you, but the most powerful copper can help you is a silver one. Right? If you're having your silver jewelry that is authentic, right, it is able to lower that energy of the moon to the point that now you're creating a shield to protect yourself from being affected from being affected by the moon. When you have to incorporate with silver, right, copper, your bracelet, your necklace, drinking from a cup of silver, right? Dishing your food on a cup, on a dish of dishing your food on a plate that is silver, it is able to now lower those energies that come from the moon. They won't actually affect you. The only time when the moon really does affect you is on a full moon scale, all the time. Never mind the half moon, all of that, but when it is a full moon, that's when now you need to wear your armor and protect yourself from the energy of this moon, because it does affect you every single day. It creates a lot of wars. It creates a lot of destructions. And the more it does that, in fact, the more blood is spilled on the ground, it is the more the moon is able to regenerate that energy for itself. It goes even way deeper, right? Because all the blood that goes to the ground does not only actually go to the face of the moon, but every other tunnels that are connected with so many different creatures, right? But I don't want to go through that deep essence of it. So I just want everybody to understand that the moon is negative. Stop praising it that much. Stop putting your crystals under the moon. If you want to charge the crystals, charge them with the energy of the sun. Dip them down in the ground for days. Sea salt, wash them for days with sea salt, right? Do anything that is natural, that is like authentic, but don't put them under the moon. You don't need that energy, especially if you're a carbon person. But human beings, they find joy in the energy of the moon because it was built for them. They are not real. The moon is not real. You are real. And every time the moon shines at its fullest capacity, it is there to affect each and every one of you every single time. So you need to keep this in your mind. You need to keep this in your mind. Listen, I'm very happy that you've joined this channel. You came to the Sun Ascended Masters because you wanted to actually attain the understanding of energy, how it works. Some of you have got your PhDs, degrees, diplomas, higher certificate, right? In this channel, you're getting a master's for you to be a Sun Ascended Master. To be one and embrace the fact that you are a sun gazer, not worshipping the sun. No. Sun gazing because you're a sun gazer. You're living in the energy of the sun because you are the embodiment of the sun. You are that energy of the sun. You are the phantom energy that has to be connected with your higher self all the time. and you have to actually keep up with it all the time in order for you to actually be the better version of yourself. Don't forget to meditate. Don't forget to sungaze. Don't forget to keep up with a healthy diet. Don't forget to do your yoga. It is very, very important. And don't forget to detox your body every single week. If you keep up with these things, definitely, I am telling you, guarantee you that you're going to be an ascended master all the time, because every single time when you practice these things, you're actually becoming a better version of yourself. And what would you do in this world without you having to actually attain the goodness of yourself, for you to be the better version, and for you to actually master everything willingly, because you can, and nobody can stand in your way. I say love and cosmic light.
In this world, there are so many things which you can achieve when you are alone.
It is always good for you to always have that high.
It is very important to do these things first thing in the morning when you wake up. Don't wake up and then you start to think about food. You wanna have your breakfast. Breakfast is not good at all. It slows you down anyway. But when you wake up, the first thing that you wanna do